All right. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the third one. This is one of my favorites because I have been dabbling with this, especially in the corporate world, with what I do with a TV station. And I've even been doing it outside with some other projects. But that first trend that we talked about is live video, the growth of live video in 2017. That second trend that we talked about that is going to continue to grow is authentically mobile experiences. The third trend, and some of you may heard about this. If you don't recognize the term, I'm sure you recognize the practice. Influencer marketing. Jason Bonner, good that you're here, sir. Influencer marketing is getting ready to take off even more in 2017. Now, let me tell you what influencer marketing is. It really reminds you a lot of the old, especially in radio, where you'd have the radio host that would endorse a certain product or service. It is a extended and expanded version of that, where now you take a look at people that are basically social media celebrities, and not just on the national scene, but even in our local markets, even in our local arenas, in our local circles, there are people that already have huge followings on in social media, in different platforms. Many of them in Facebook, many of them in Instagram and Facebook. Many of them, and keep your eye on this, especially those of you that are trying to reach more of those millennials. Many of those folks have great followings with things like Snapchat, which we may not necessarily engage in, but they do. Those folks are important to you because they are influencers. They influence the people that connect with them. They do it in a good way. It's not anything that's brainwashing, but it's basically, again, it's an old-fashioned concept where you have a celebrity that endorses a product, but there's more authenticity to it because they're not just paid to fake say that they drink Nestle Splash bottled water, which is something that I drink on a daily basis. But they really believe in that product or service, and so they recommend it. And where you have the benefit is working along with them to align yourself with them, make it something that's a win-win for everybody, where their influence helps you to grow your influence and your business and opportunities. So here's some tips on that. Well, first of all, let me see, does everybody understand what I'm talking about with influencer marketing? And do you have any questions about that? Because that is something that has really been growing well. Let me give you some examples of how I've been able to leverage it with the organization that I work with Channel 7. We have some talent that had their talent on our locally produced shows. Hey, Joni, how are you, ma'am? We have some talent that have their locally produced shows, and that talent has obviously not only has developed fans that watch the show, but that fan base has expanded into social media, primarily Facebook and Instagram in this case. So we have clients that are promoting their services. We may have our talent that will go out and do the business owner just kind of walk them around on a tour of their store or their organization and have the talent do live video while that tour is going on. What's going on in that scenario is their audience, they're taking their following, they're taking their fans along with them on the tour. Now, the business owner can never really reach out to those folks that they're not already connected with and have them come on in for the tour, even if they did it virtually. But that influencer already has that following. The people love them. The people love, just following them. And if he says, hey, come on, I'm going to go on down to this ice cream shop today, and I'm going to test all 31 of their flavors, and I want you guys to join me as I test those. I'm going to tell you the flavors that I like, the flavors that I don't like. Their fan base will be like, cool, let's go down and check it out along with you using this device. The benefit for the business is astronomical because what takes place in that is not only the extra exposure, not only getting their name out there even that much more frequently to people that may have known about them or had no idea about them, but what also has a tendency to happen is their social media fan base can grow as well because a lot of this takes place within that same social media space. Does that make sense to you so far? Hopefully it does. I want to see what questions people have as we continue with this. But just to give you an idea of what this can mean to you, I got a couple of ideas to share with you that you may want to jot down. Here's what you want to do when it comes to influencer marketing, with it being a big trend that will continue to take off in 2017. Now, the reason why the research says that it is a trend to pay attention to is they're saying they follow the money. This is why these things get on this the research radar. In a nutshell, what they do, they follow the money. What I mean by that is they take a look at where businesses are spending their marketing dollars, and that's what they pay attention to as far as why and as far as it growing. They have found that especially major national businesses are creating budgets not only for traditional advertising, but something as new and becoming mainstream as influencer marketing. They are setting aside big dollars to pay those influencers to connect with them. Let me give you an example of where I really saw this. It was an awesome example of it. You're familiar with Zillow? Zillow is that online research resource where you can go to their website and do searches for homes and look at not only homes that are for sale, but property values and property values and everything like that. A lot of folks are familiar with Zillow.com. Here's what Zillow.com wanted to do, especially to reach and engage millennials. Now, the trend for millennials is that they don't typically hang out in Facebook. Yes, some of them do, but they spend more time in Snapchat. Zillow was trying to figure out how in the heck can we connect with millennials, especially since they don't hang out in these social media platforms that we're familiar with, especially since they hang out in Snapchat instead of Facebook. So what Zillow did, Zillow recruited about 8 millennials. Those millennials had huge followings within Snapchat. They were influencers. These influencers already had their own audiences. Now think about a TV host. Think about, now these folks were not TV hosts or radio hosts, but think about that as something that we're familiar with. Think about a TV host. Think about a radio DJ that has a following. Think about these folks that are celebrities, whether it's big or small, but they have their own audiences, that those folks love them, and they will follow them and hang out wherever they end up and go. So Zillow recruited these 8 Snapchat influencers, and they invited them to a house that they had, I think, in Malibu, California. They called it the Zillow Snap House. And what they were going to do for, I think, a weekend, I think it was no more than a weekend, but they invited them to stay in the house for a weekend. And the goal and what they were paying them to do was to talk about it to their audience throughout the whole time about the experience. Their goal was to have those folks come into the house and to just, they didn't give them a script or anything, but they just told them, we want you guys to hang out in the house. The experience is going to be great. We're making it something that we hope that you will enjoy. But the agreement is that you will post in your platform on Snapchat, and just tell your following, your fans, what's going on and if you like it or not. That is influencer marketing. So here's what this can mean for you. Find someone that is, first of all, strong, that has a strong social media following, but most importantly, that they already touch the audience that you either touch or you're trying to reach. Find that person that's already touching the audience that you're trying to reach, and that they have a good, strong social media following already. And then here's some ideas of some things that you can have them do. First of all, pay them to, and you don't have to always pay them, but hey, Mary Lou, how are you, ma'am? But you can pay them to, let's say if you have a product or service, pay them to unbox your product, and then for them to review it using their platform. If they do YouTube, if they do Facebook, whatever their platform is, have them get your product, your next new product that you're trying to roll out, and have them just talk about it to their audience like they normally do. Have them review that product or the service that you may have. Have them demonstrate it. You may just connect with them and show them how whatever that product or service is, and then have them with their following demonstrate that same thing. If you've got a store, if you've got a venue, whatever it is, if you have a physical location, have them tour it. bring them on a tour, just like the folks did with Zillow. Bring them on a tour, take them through the tour, and while they're going through the tour, even live or just recorded or both, have them talk to their audience, have them bring their following along on the tour. This is great. I've done this myself, especially with the events that I do with Art Slam Live event. Have that influencer attend the event, and while they're at the event, just tell everybody about it. In fact, you can do it in 3 ways, in 3 phases. Before the event, have them tell their audience, hey guys, on this Saturday we're going down to whatever the event is, and I want y'all to hang out with me and check it out as well. That will send traffic to your website. When they actually go to the event the day of, and while they're there, again, the agreement is for them not to just attend, but the agreement that you have, especially if you're paying them, the agreement is for them to do a minimum of so many posts to their following about the event itself. That, again, is influencing the people that already hang out with them that you don't have connection with, but you will after this. And then after the event, the third phase of this, have them just kind of debrief what they liked about the event, what they may recommend to do differently about it. But again, it is a way for you to use influencer marketing, where you have someone that has influence, so following already, and they use these new tools that we have, social media, to engage them on behalf of you, and you will see potentially that your following can increase from that. So, hey, Jody Hayes, I'm glad that you're here, sir. But let's see what questions you have about that one. That was one of my favorite ones because it's really fun, and I've been able to explore that firsthand myself. Trevor says the Roast Show is coming to Hartsville. I'm not familiar with the Roast Show, but tell me a little bit more about that, either here or offline. But that is something that can be done as well. Other questions or comments, especially about influencer marketing? Jody Hayes. Jody, we need to talk about some stuff, man. I got a couple projects that have been going in my head about some videography, but we'll talk offline. Any other questions about influencer marketing? That is a big one, y'all. That is one that, again, anytime that you take a look at where people are spending their money, like this research, eMarketer, they follow the money. And what they do, they take a look at how people are investing dollars in something like influencer marketing. And they're figuring out, you know what, these folks found something that works. Let's explore and see what happens with that. Oh, okay, I see Rashonda and Trevor, they're kind of brainstorming on some things. So they're looking at taking something on the road. You guys, that's great. This is what this platform is all about, for everybody to exchange ideas. So y'all have at it. Amy asks, is there a simple way to find influencers that both match your product and have a large following? Yes, there is. I'd start off first of all with Google searches, and I would also take a look at the different platforms that you're on, and do searches within those platforms using the keywords that are relevant to your businesses or your business and service that you provide, and then go to their platforms and just kind of check them out and see what they have going on. Whether it's, look at what they do as far as their platform. Do they have a weekly post? Do they have a show that they do regularly? But just kind of check them out. But a starting point to find out the who's who would be Google searches outside of the platform, and then within each one of those platforms, like Facebook, like Instagram, like Snapchat, doing searches within those, especially using keywords that are relevant to what you do. And then other questions that you have about any of this, y'all, feel free to ask me offline, and I'll be able to give you some more insight. And I don't know it all, but I will try to find the research and the information for you as well. But we'll chat. On that note, while we're still having our conversation here, I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to go to a new project that I'm launching. And it's called Blueprint, Startup Stories That Inspire. And so I've got a website that is active now, but we're really going to do the official kickoff and push of the website in March. But I want you to earmark and just write down and go visit startupstories.biz. Just to recap, those at least 3 trends that have been big on my radar from this research from eMarketer.com has been the growth of live video. It is going to continue to grow to the point where they're predicting that there is going to be a prime time live video broadcast show or something to that degree because of the growth of live video. And that's something that we can all take advantage of right now for our businesses, our ideas, and our organizations. So the growth of live video, pay attention to that, play with that, and it is something that will work for you. The second thing, this is the year of authentically mobile experiences. Take a look at your business and where does it make sense to really put some attention into the mobile experience of the service or product that you provide for your audience, and a way to really just kind of figure that out. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Do Google searches of folks that do what you do and that are a little bit ahead of you. They may already have a living example right now. Adopt that. You're not stealing an idea. You're just adopting it and modifying it for yourself. And then the third one, which is one of my favorites, is influencer marketing. It is so cool, y'all. It is just a matter of just taking a look at somebody that already has a following. You may not know them. You may have never heard of them, but the audience that you're trying to engage may already be following them. Connect with those people. Pay those people, because if you pay them, this is business. This is business. So if you pay them, you will get a return on it. But it is a non-traditional way to take your business to the next level and utilizing the tools that people are already gravitating towards. People are benefiting from this. I benefit from it myself. Companies that I work along with and for benefit from this. You can as well too. And with that all said, I just want to leave the remaining time for Q&A, because that's a great way to utilize this platform. I'm big on doing a whole lot of talking, as y'all can see, but I want to go ahead and turn the mic over to y'all to see what questions are out there, comments, and let's wrap up with that. So let's see what questions we have. Rashonda Pratt says, "Sir, first time here." She's a storyteller strategist. Oh, this is good content. Well, thank you, Rashonda. Mary Lou asks, do you know of an upstate, that's upstate South Carolina, for those of you that are out of the state, do you know of an upstate Facebook group for entrepreneurs? I'm sure that there are many. Mary Lou, offline, I will explore in more detail. There's not any specifically for entrepreneurs that come to mind, but here's what I found. When you start doing some Google searches for those, you'll start finding them. One group now this is not a Facebook group, but at least an offline group that I think every entrepreneur, I'm glad you mentioned this, Mary Lou. To answer your question specifically, I don't know of any on Facebook, and especially for the upstate, but if you do some searches within Facebook, you will find entrepreneur groups that I'm sure will come up. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't find anything. I'd be surprised if you didn't find anything. But on that note, even offline, everybody that is listening to this, the Small Business Development Center of your metropolitan area, it's the SBDC. Every main metropolitan area in the country has one. It's called the Small Business Development Center. It is a resource for entrepreneurs. It is especially a great resource for existing businesses, but those that want to launch a business. They will assign you a one-on-one counselor where you can get thousands of dollars worth of coaching to help you really legitimately grow your business. Not teaching or anything that's just a lot of fluff. Their goal is to help businesses within your state grow, and not only grow and survive, but thrive. And so to do that, and this is the key thing about it, our tax dollars pay for this. So I know that this isn't an online entity, but I wanted to make sure that people know about this, because I've done work with them. I do speaking engagements with them, but I've done work with them for several years now. And it is one of the best kept secrets in our country, and we pay for it. And it's something that you can use. David Cooper, glad that you're here, sir. David says, hey, bro, I've spent the last year working with SEO and social media marketing with the NGA News Group. It's a huge deal for business. One of the most important things you can do, and I didn't see the rest. Oh, here we are. One of the most important things that you can do for business is increase your footprint on the web. Yes, sir. You want your name to be one of the first things that pop up on any search engine. Investing in SEO is worth it. Yes, David, thank you for sharing that, sir. SEO, search engine optimization, is huge, especially because there's so much noise that's out here in this marketing space. And with your website and people going directly, I mean, we all go directly to Google when we want something. I've talked about Google several times here, but it's a way of life now. But if you've got a website, you want to make sure, as David says, that that website is optimized so that it can come up frequent enough and fast enough so people can do business with you and at least know that you exist. Now, here's what I do recommend. And again, if you're in business, you got to invest some dollars. You know, a lot of times there's some free resources out there. One thing that will not change is you get what you pay for. So invest dollars, especially if you're serious about doing business and you have a website, invest those dollars in a good SEO strategy. Now, typically when people do, if you work with a good company that launches your website, part of what they do is a good SEO strategy. So make sure you have that conversation with them. But David is hitting the nail right on the head where SEO is something that is very important. But I want to thank everybody that that stopped on by, especially with the live version of this. I want to thank those of you that are still coming even after we finish going live and you're coming to the recorded version of this. Continue, folks, and especially if you do this, forward this and share this to somebody that needs to hear it. Forward this and share it to people that you feel need to know about these trends that are taking place in 2017. Now, I can honestly say that these three trends, now these were of the report, and it's a report from emarketer.com, and the total trends that they mentioned in their report, I'd like for you to go to their site. You'll see 10 trends that they talked about. These three that I am highlighting here are three that I have used myself in some way or another. But I want you to share this with other folks that may need to know about this, because I think it's something that's great. But I want to thank everybody for chiming in and continue to not only hang out here, but definitely go to the website. The website is going to be fully blown and active in March, but I'd like for you to stop on by now. It's like a building that we're opening up. So you know, we've got most of the stuff that's in there. We got some things that we're going to be placing in there that's not open yet, but I do want to make sure that you bookmark that. It is startupstories.biz. That is startupstories.biz. And even if you forget it and don't get a chance to go directly to it, while we are all on Facebook, you can continue to stay in contact with me and that content here on Facebook. We've got that Facebook group for the same thing. It is Blueprint Startup Stories That Inspire. That's a Facebook page as well as a Facebook group. But just hang out with me with Tony Snipes and TonySnipes.com as well, and you'll always be connected to all of that. I just want to make sure that you have access to the trends that are taking place and that you're not left behind, but you get a chance to not only let your business survive, but let it thrive. So we will see you soon. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and keep those questions coming, keep those comments coming. We're going to continue to engage with all of that, and we will be talking to you soon.